And then you got the Chinese and the Russians. And the distinct difference between them is the China and Russia want a nationalist dictatorship, and the globalists just want an international dictatorship.
I've watched the world go from Donald Trump is Adolf Hitler to now Vladimir Putin is Adolf Hitler. And I don't know who's going to be Adolf Hitler next, but I don't know what to think of the Ukraine-Russian conflict. I'm leery of buying this narrative that Vladimir Putin is Adolf Hitler and the worst thing on the planet. And so I'm sincerely asking, because I know you run in circles where these conversations are going on all the time, what do you think of Vladimir Putin and what's going on in the Ukraine?
Well, first, I'd say I think wars in our time and for many generations have been between elites and kings and not common people. So I think when people decide to go to war or use military military action, it's usually the common people that suffer, whether that be economically, physically, et cetera. But I think right now, geopolitically, we have a 4-player jump ball. And your guy, Glenn Beck, laid this out as well. I shot you that text message one day and said how Beck laid this out on his show about a week after I had written it in my Substack. And I see it the same way that he does. You got the free people, right? You got the people all across the world. You have globalists, which is really the Anglosphere, right? The West. Who are, again, this repurposing and rebranding of eugenics for a world government agenda. And then you got the Chinese and the Russians. And the distinct difference between them is the China and Russia want a nationalist dictatorship, and the globalists just want an international dictatorship. So you're seeing a fight right now in the Ukraine between national dictatorship and international dictatorship. And you know, I'm not one to say what is the greater of the two evils. I will say that that us as citizens watching from a third party view, uninformed and uninitiated, and the esoteric jargon for these geopolitical conflicts in the history, many people have forgotten about the Bay of Pigs or the Cuban Missile Crisis or the pretense or the premise of the Cold War, right? So I think a lot of people are tuning in now and see what's being shown to them in terms of Russia invading Ukraine and have a very poor understanding of the history. I think Putin is our enemy in the general sense. And I would say that because for one very distinct reason, he believes in state censorship, and that's un-American. He doesn't believe in the freedom of speech as a fundamental constitutional inalienable right of his citizens. And we do. But the catch is we say we do. But in actuality, the technocracy has conspired with the government in the West to silence and censor the speech of dissidents as well. So who are we to call the kettle black in that instance or in that consideration? But I would say if I was in charge, Putin would be our enemy because he doesn't believe in free speech. And that's a fundamental cornerstone of American constitutional values. So I feel for the people there in the Ukraine. And the Russian citizens and everybody who's affected by this conflict. It'll be interesting to see what happens here over the next few months.